You ever notice how tomorrow has become your favorite lie? Not the kind you tell other people, the one you tell yourself. I'll start tomorrow. I'll fix it tomorrow. I'll finally get serious tomorrow. And somehow, tomorrow never comes. At first, it feels harmless, just a delay, just a small pause. You tell yourself it's fine, you still have time, you'll do it properly later. But then it happens again. And again, and again. And slowly, something shifts. You're not postponing a task anymore. You're postponing decisions, postponing effort, postponing your life. Days turn into weeks, weeks turn into months. And one day you realize nothing has really changed. There are people who have been stuck in this loop for 5 years. 5 years. Not because they don't care, but because they keep waiting for the moment that finally feels right. And that moment never comes. That's what makes this so heavy. Because you're not confused. You're not lost. You can see the life you want. You can picture it clearly. The habits, the discipline, the version of you that actually follows through. You know what you should be doing. You've thought about it 100 times, planned it, visualized it, promised yourself you'd start. But every day, you watch yourself not move. That's the real struggle of being ambitious but lazy. It's not comfort, it's tension. Because deep down, you know you're capable of more. And that awareness, it doesn't motivate you. It weighs on you. It shows up in quiet moments, when you're alone, when you realize the gap between where you are and where you could be. And that gap starts to hurt. Pressure builds. Guilt follows, and over time, that guilt turns into something worse. You start questioning yourself, your discipline, your ability, even your potential. What's wrong with me? But here's the truth. There is nothing wrong with you. This is not a personality flaw. This is psychology. Inside your mind, there's a constant conflict. One part of you wants growth. The other wants comfort. One part is focused on the future. The other wants relief right now. And right now, comfort is winning. Not because you're weak, because your brain is designed to avoid discomfort. Think about it. Every time you consider doing something difficult, your brain scans for risk, effort, uncertainty, the possibility of failure, and it reacts instantly. Let's not do that right now. Instead, it offers something easier, something familiar, something safe. Scroll, watch, avoid. And in that moment, you feel better. Not fulfilled, not proud, but relieved. And that relief is enough for your brain to remember. So it creates a shortcut. Next time discomfort appears, it sends you back to the same escape. That's how the pattern forms. Not in one big decision, but in hundreds of small ones. And over time, those small decisions become automatic. You don't even think about it anymore. You just reach for your phone, delay the task, push it forward. Tomorrow. And here's the real trap. As long as you don't start, you get to keep your potential. You can keep believing you could succeed, that you could change, that you could become that person, without ever risking finding out if you actually will. That's why tomorrow feels safe. It protects your identity. It allows you to stay the person with possibility, instead of becoming the person who has to prove it. But over time, that protection becomes limitation, because potential means nothing without action. There's a story about a young warrior named Yuki. He dreamed of becoming great. He studied strategy, imagined victories, saw himself as powerful. He talked about what he would become, planned it, believed in it. But when it came time to train, he always had a reason to wait. The weather wasn't right. He wasn't ready. He needed more time. Tomorrow. Years passed. Others trained. Others improved. Others moved forward. Yuki stayed where he was. And one day he realized something painful. His dreams hadn't lifted him. They had trapped him. Because imagining success gave him the feeling of progress without the discomfort of earning it. And that illusion kept him stuck. That's the danger. Not dreaming, but replacing action with it. Because ambition without action doesn't stay ambition. It turns into regret. So how do you break the cycle? Not with motivation. Motivation fades. It depends on mood, energy, timing, and those things are never consistent. You break it with something smaller, something simpler, something repeatable. You start with 2 minutes. That's it. Not an hour, not a full transformation. 2 minutes of action. Because the hardest part is not the work, it's the beginning. The moment you start, something changes. Resistance weakens, focus sharpens, and suddenly, continuing feels easier than stopping. That's how momentum works. It doesn't appear first, it follows action. And once you have momentum, you don't need as much discipline, because now you're moving. You don't need to fix everything today. You don't need the perfect system. You just need to interrupt the pattern. One action, one decision, one moment of doing what you usually avoid. And then you repeat it, tomorrow and the next day. Not perfectly, but consistently. Because consistency builds something deeper than results. It builds identity. You stop being someone who plans to change and become someone who shows up, even when you don't feel like it. Especially when you don't feel like it. And yes, it will feel uncomfortable. At first, discipline always does. Your brain will resist. It will offer excuses, tell you to wait, to start later. Ignore it. Because every time you act despite resistance, you are changing something fundamental. You are teaching your mind that discomfort is not danger. You are building trust with yourself. And that trust matters. Because without it, you will always doubt your own promises. Let me ask you something. What would your life look like if you had started one small habit 1 year ago? Not perfectly, just consistently. That's the difference. Not talent, not intelligence. Consistency. If this is hitting you right now, there's probably something in your life you've been delaying. You already know what it is. Say it. Write it. Own it. And if someone you know is stuck in this same loop, share this with them. Because sometimes, one moment of clarity is enough to break years of delay. Now bring it back to you. You don't need more information. You already know what to do. What you need is to move. Not tomorrow, today. Even if it's small. Even if it's messy. Even if it feels insignificant. Because that first action, that moment where you stop avoiding and start doing, that's where everything begins. Not all at once, but quietly, steadily. Until one day you look back and realize something changed. You're no longer waiting. You're no longer stuck. You're no longer living in tomorrow. You're building something real. Something earned, something yours. And that's the moment where effort turns into ease, where resistance turns into rhythm, where the life you imagined finally starts to take shape. That's where it leads, step by step, choice by choice, to something better, something calmer, something deeply yours. To a life that finally feels like milk and honey for your soul.